Hello, everyone watching, and hello. I have to ask how I pronounce your name. I just said before, like, hey, G, because I was like, huh? How do you
Act-
pronounce your name?
Actually, you're so aware that you're calling me G, because often my English-speaking friends or my husband, they just call me G because it's just
Love that.
simple.
So,
So
hello, Miss
you
G.
were bang on. Hello, everybody. I'm actually from Hungary, so that's why the funny spelling of my name is. If you wanted to pronounce my name in Hungarian, it would sound like Györgyi, but for every
Györgyi. I
Györgyi,
like
so
it.
every foreigner,
It's
it's very
sexy.
complicated to get it right. So, and I have an Irish husband. I work with foreign people a lot, so lived abroad. So I'm just Georgie. Just call me Georgie. That's fine.
I think I want to call you Georgie. I really like it.
Yes.
So,
Okay, you can
welcome,
call me G.
Georgie.
G is fine as well.
No, I'm gonna go for Georgie.
All right.
I like it
Whatever
way better.
works.
So welcome everybody. This is the interview is called "Are You Crazy?" or "Are You Crazy Aware?" And I don't know if that sound was coming from you or from me, the ping.
I didn't hear that.
So this ping is from me, and I'm just going to. I have like multiple tabs open, and I'm going to close a few tabs so I am not disturbed by the pings. Voila. There we go. No. Yeah, okay. I closed it all off. So now I can like fully focus and concentrate on having a conversation with you. I have, I just have met you very recently when I was in Stockholm for a very amazing seminar. And I was very curious because you're like into energy, self-development, awareness, and all of that. So maybe you can tell me a little bit what you do right now, and why did you started this? Why did you start this journey? Like, where did you start? How, like, what was your psyche? What was your mentality? Like, how was your body um then? Like, how were you then? And yeah, and
I
how are you now? There's a lot of different questions in
Yeah. And
that.
I'm thinking, where do I begin? Where do I begin? So, right, we met in Stockholm where I was doing translations for a class from English to Hungarian. So that's quite a lot what I do recently for different people all over the world, online or live. I also have my own classes and courses. Yeah, so mainly that I do recently.
What kind of a classes do you
I do
translate and what
bars.
kind
I do bar. What do I translate?
of translate and then what courses you give?
I'm an official translator, so my next class is going to be a CFP with Kalpana just this weekend that I'm going to translate, and everything else that there is in Access in the
Access
whole wide world.
consciousness. Yeah.
Access consciousness. Sorry, yes,
So that's a
let's
modality
define.
for nobody
Let's
that doesn't
define
know that. Yeah.
exactly. And in Access consciousness, there's a lot of different things that you can choose. Different. We have a lot of tools to make your life easy, to
Mhm.
change things in your life, and to make parts of your life better. If something's working, but you want to have more of it, or you want to increase that, you can also do that. So there's a lot of tools that we can hand over to people in different classes. There are shorter classes and longer classes. So I have a few of those. Yeah, but what I really love recently is what is very predominant in my life is that this international connections with you, for example, and a lot of other people that people from all over the world just get together for a project and they really give what they have energetically, their personality, their creativity, their enthusiasm, and we just get together and create something, and then whoosh, we're over to the next project. So I really love that.
And what kind of projects are these for people?
It's a different classes or calls, like online calls or live classes. Sometimes we have somebody coming to Hungary to give a class from abroad. Sometimes there is an online call series that we might have Hungarians joining in. So that kind of stuff.
Wow. Wow. So, and do you also facilitate these classes?
Yes, I
Yeah.
facilitate bars and little 3-hour body process classes as well as facelift.
Right. And for people who have never heard of bars, like what is a bars class?
Access bars is a basic process of this modality we talk about. It's access consciousness, and it's basically an energetic stress release. This is how I like to summarize for people that have never heard of it. There are different parts of your head. You just lie down for an hour on a massage table, or if you don't have that, you can do it anywhere. You can do it in the woods, on the beach, anywhere in a car or on a sofa or on a bed. So you don't have to have any special, anything special for it. You can really run your bars anywhere. And Gary Douglas brought this process to everybody, to the world. And for about an hour, we just touch different parts of the head, your head, and we activate certain points. And there is the electromagnetic process that happens in your brain. But okay, let's leave that to the scientists. What we care about is that when you get up at the end, like during the session, you actually feel relaxed, like in a massage. And when it's over, you just feel so much lighter and you are more yourself. And from that space where you are more yourself, you can actually go back into the world, go into your life, and be more enthusiastic about your own life you're living, and be able to choose for yourself much more than you were before.
I love that. Yeah.
I love that too.
Yeah. And I know that process very
Yes.
well. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And maybe we can get back to that a little bit further on the interview, because I don't want to interrupt you. There's so much cool stuff to
Talk
say
a
about
lot,
it.
so just interrupt me.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I'm curious, like, when and where did you started to become interested in all of this? Like, yeah, and why?
The why is probably, it's very common for all of us. I just had this general feeling of something was not working in my life and I couldn't put my finger to it. You know, if you could change things cognitively, when you're not right, you feel heavy, you don't know what to do, you're just not right in your life, and you cannot actually say, oh, this particular thing is not working, because if you could, would you not change that? You would. Everybody would. So cognitively, you don't know what's wrong. You just know that something's not right. The whole thing isn't the way it should be. The whole thing isn't the way you'd want it to be. The whole thing just isn't working. So I was trying to like change that. And I'm not the type of person that would go to psychotherapy. I'm the type of person that is more open to anything else but that, because I have this point of view that that's a very slow process, and it might take ages by the time you actually find the right person that can actually work with you. And I need something more dynamic. I just don't have the patience or the time to invest into that. By the time I find somebody that actually I can actually achieve some changes with. So I was more open to everything else, more alternative solutions or therapies, if you want to call it that way. And I was actually going for kinesiology sessions for years before I came across access consciousness. And don't think that I was there every week for hours and hours, but if there was an issue, a particular thing that's happening, and I actually have 3 kids, so if there was anything with the kids as well, I would bring them to the kinesiologist, and she would do some sessions with us and things would change. So
Wow.
that was
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
But every modality has a kind of limit. And she did tell me that kinesiology works with that and that, so it's in that particular area. And if you have an issue related to that, then I can help you. And I said, yeah, great. So what happens when I have other related issues, you know? And she says, that's not my playground.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
attended sessions with her for years, and there was a lot of issues that popped up in our lives, my life, my kids' lives, that got resolved by this. But then, after a while, also came a point when there was still something not right. I couldn't put my finger to it, what it is exactly. I couldn't isolate or identify what is the problem, what I needed to change.
Which is
And no
probably
matter
why the
how much
which is probably why the psychotherapy, like going to a psychologist, doesn't work. Like,
wouldn't work
how do you, like, I
anyway.
don't even know what my problem is. Like, there's
Exactly.
something missing, and there's like this, maybe like a black empty hole, and how do you address that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I couldn't, but every time I went or to the kinesiologist, there was not a big relief anymore. There was not a big change anymore. So I actually came to the conclusion like, right. So probably what she could do for me, she did, and I need something else. So I did a no access way back then, but then I worked from one of the access tools, which is please ask a question. So I was there thinking, okay, if it's not kinesiology, then what is it going to be?
Right. What's next? Yeah.
Exactly. So if it's not that, then what is it? What
Yeah.
is it that's
I
going to
recognize this.
change things for me?
I've had that. I recognize this so
I
much.
think a few of us had this.
Okay, I'm like, yeah, okay, I reached the ceiling. Okay, next.
Yeah. What's now?
Yeah.
So then I was making dinner in the kitchen and I was listening to the radio, and somebody was actually talking about this in about 5 sentences. And then I researched it. I never heard about it before. It was totally like foreign to me, even though I speak English. And I was like, access, what? So I had to like Google it. And
Uh-huh.
whatever I actually found, I went like, might be worth. So let's give it a go. So I actually tracked that woman down that was on the radio. Oh, about a totally different topic. I mean, she was interviewed for about half an hour about something totally different. And at the very end, she said about 5 sentences about this. But that was enough.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I found her on the internet. I asked for a session. I booked a session. And initially, I just went for a couple of access bars sessions that now I also teach. And I give sessions and I also teach you how to do it. So that's about 5 years ago.
Wow. And how was that for you then, to receive, like, how was your first session?
My first session, I was like knocked out. I hadn't a clue what was going on. I mean, that was a period of my life when nothing was working, literally. Like I had a job that I enjoyed that just all of a sudden whoosh, went out the window and nothing. I mean, I had big fallouts with people that I felt close to and I respected and totally trusted. And I mean, all that was just coming after one another and everything was just not working. So that was like a very dark parts of my life, or everything's falling apart, nothing's working. I don't know what to do with myself. What am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? Blah, 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 you know. So I went for this session. And I was like, okay, I'll give this a go. First one, I was so tired of everything that I think I just slept for the whole thing. I don't remember much, to be honest. And when I went for my second one, about 3-4 weeks later, I went like, okay, now I'm gonna really like, focus. What's happening? I need to pay attention. What is she doing to me? How does this work?
Love that.
All that. Did you do that yourself?
I can't remember. I don't think I did that. I did remember I had my first session and
It's so funny.
I didn't feel much of it. I fell asleep. I didn't feel much of it. I
Yeah, I
woke up
fell
and I was
asleep.
like, okay, okay. I didn't feel like something revolutionary was just like
Yeah.
happened with that session. But I got the person gave me, I think, like 3 or 4 little tools, and I started playing with it immediately.
Oh,
And I felt
I didn't get that.
I
I
felt
just
like
get the session.
yeah, and I think that those tools made all the difference because I felt like
Yeah.
the Matrix Neo when
Mm-hmm.
he's like looking at that stuff from the other world and there's like these energies and I felt like Neo um and I could really perceive energy although I couldn't see it. I knew it was there and I was like playing with it and I could literally like
Yeah.
feel everything like moving so
Mm.
softly and perceptively and I
Wow.
felt like I lost 100 kilo and I remember
Oh, yes.
fuck fuck when when am I gonna get my next hit? I think I'm gonna be addicted to this. I did drugs. So that's probably that
Oh,
was like my reaction. I was like, fuck, when am I gonna get? Is this gonna go
yeah.
over? When am I gonna get my next bar
Yeah.
session? That was,
Yeah.
that was my time.
So that was a hook.
It was definitely a hook.
Okay,
I
so
was
for
hooked.
everybody that is watching this, it's not addictive, right? But you want more of it because it's good.
It's better. Like
It's better.
it's
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different drugs. It like it surpasses it all and you can't even compare it.
It's just so funny you say that. But I haven't done any drugs because I'm a control freak.
I
So I
think
haven't done
yeah,
any,
yeah.
but I was mixing with people that did a lot because I went to that kind of places when I went out. And I was mixing with those kind of people. So I was always the one that was sober, like drug free. Everybody else around me was doing drugs, not me. But since
Wow.
I
Yeah.
have this, since we have the bars and other access tools, which can actually just, yeah, it could be like as if it was addictive, but it's not. It's just that that it's so powerful and so life-changing that you just want to have more of it, not because of the addiction bit to it, but simply because you just have this feeling that, wow, yeah, that this is what I want. This is how I want my life to feel like, you know.
That's and that's what I got. Like it's you get like access to this type of energy and essence where you've been like, well, I did, where you're like you yearn for it your whole life, but you never knew that
Mm,
was possible, but you yearn for it like from
yeah.
deep core down every cell of your body. You was like, I like because I had like most of my life is like, is this my life? If this is my life,
Yeah.
like I'm fucked.
If this is
Like,
my life,
ugh.
I'm not interested. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I get
Um,
that.
and then that like
So,
every time with uh with every session, you access more of that.
yeah.
You access more of you. It's like you
Yeah,
have like
that's
that.
why it's called
Yeah,
access bars, access
yeah,
consciousness, because you
yeah.
access more of you. And I often say, now that I teach it, I often say, oh God, if all the addicted people in the world, addicted to alcohol, addicted to different drugs, if they knew that this stuff existed, they would quit and only use this because it's so much better.
It is
I
because like
often say that jokingly, actually. This is so much better. What you use? Access consciousness. You know.
Like how much, and I can like definitely speak for myself when I grew up with a family who was addicted to drugs. Like how much do we use drugs because everything else out there is like it's overwhelming. It's a lot. It's much. I even like for some people it can sometimes living life feels like
Too much.
abusive. It's
yes.
Yeah, I definitely had like some years where I was like, am I like the only one that experiences life like this? Because I didn't even know like how much of my head was like a war zone until I started doing that.
Yeah.
And then with all these years later, like really using this as a way to enhance everything. Like it's such a great enhancer in my life. You get to have access to the beauty that's all underneath that heavy stuff.
Yeah, and you get rid of the heavy stuff. You get rid of the heavy stuff.
And you use drugs. I definitely did that to like not deal with the heavy, but when you
to escape from it, no?
To escape from it. And when you start to like realize there's actually a different world to experience possible. There's a very different way to experience life. And most of us, I definitely like in my culture and with the people that I grew up, they don't know it. They never taught me it. And how many of us live a life that's been taught by others and we don't know any different.
Exactly.
And somehow like yearning it and deeply longing after it and sort of like not really living life, but sort of like
surviving
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Undergoing it.
Yeah.
Or like even like submissive to it, like because you just
don't know any
better. Because you just don't know any better. And that's what you said, like you knew something was off and something was missing, but you didn't know what it was. And was it that opium of living?
Yes, exactly.
Living like
And you know what was the funny thing is like, okay, my first session I was just totally like conked out. Second one I was like, I need to like pay attention what is happening, and do you know there is that part when we hold the implant band for quite a while at the beginning of the session?
I love that one.
And I was aware, I was awake, and I was just like paying attention, and I sensed that, oh my God, it's like she's doing nothing else but holding me there. And I concluded like, I must be really fucked if that's all she's doing to me, like she's stuck there, But it's not, it's just the way the session goes. But because she didn't move or do something else, I went like, shit, I must be really fucked. So ever since that, every time I have somebody, a first timer coming for a session, I always tell them, look, it's just the way the session goes. Don't worry about it. So I was so convinced that, oh God, there's something really, really, something really wrong with me,
Wow.
But no, it's just the way the session goes. And I didn't have these big revolutionary things that I walked in and walked out a totally different person and my life was all of a sudden totally different. There was none of that. But something very slowly started to change. With each and every session, something became lighter, something became easier. But what was very strikingly different, that things started to happen in my life that, if you call a friend, let's say you go somewhere, you go out or you meet somebody and then something happens, and then you call a friend and you say, you're not going to believe what happened. And then you start going into details. And then the friend at the end of the line goes like, oh my God, no, no way. No, I can't believe that. So, I mean, that kind of stories started to happen in my life that was completely in the category of impossible. And so many like that, so many. And that
Give us an
started to happen.
example.
I don't remember, to be honest. It was like, I don't know who you meet, how you meet, what happens, who says what. It's that kind of stuff. But it was, everything is so miraculous, I would say now, like totally the impossible. Like, like you couldn't believe. It's like if you said this to somebody, it would be like, or if you saw that in a movie, you would say, Anna, that's too far-fetched. I mean, what were they thinking doing a movie like that? Who's going to believe that? So that kind of stuff started to happen like on a regular basis. And I was like, I can't believe that. It's great. Can I have more of it? And it's just so it's giving you back your enthusiasm, your joy, the fun into your living. It's great. And okay, it was such a contrast because I was so low in my life. And then now I know that whatever was happening is just me. Whatever I am started to show or started to occur in my life. And it was so contrasting because what my life was before that was so not me. Do you
Yeah,
get what I'm trying to say? And then
I
the
do.
contrast was huge, huge. Now I'm so much more me that I don't see that big contrast, but I do see the little miracles or the bigger miracles or the miraculous changes or the miraculous happenings. It's still there, but it's not that contrasting anymore because I'm just more that on an ongoing basis now.
Wow. That's like everything what you said, like you're like experiencing more you in your life.
Mm.
So how is that like how does that translates in your life? Like how do you tell? Like how do you know that you're more you than you've ever been before?
Smiling more,
Yeah, that's a good one.
happy more,
Yeah.
enthusiastic, more enthusiasm
Yeah.
about anything, about your choices. You make your choices and then you go like, yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah.
stuff, I'd say.
I think that's a big one. Being
It is big.
enthusiastic and happy
Yeah, and I'm
about
not saying it's
everything.
100% like that. There is still shit. There are still people that come and push your button. There are still things happening that you would rather not choose to happen.
Hmm.
And somewhere we are the ones creating all that. But the big difference now is that if there is some shit, I don't get stuck in it anymore.
Yeah,
I
you're no
have
longer
I
at the
have the
effect of it.
tools. I have the tools. I have the bars. If there's something, then I start using the tools. I get my bars run and whoosh, I'm out of it. I don't get the effect of those things anymore.
Yeah.
And I often
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that, for
That's
example,
everything.
like there you are in your life, right? Like you go, 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 go. And then some shit happens. So you gotta fall down into the ditch, to the deep, deep, dark hole. And you get your bars, whoosh, it brings you out of it. And then you can move on. And if you get your bars run regularly, then all these ups and downs, they kind of go like that. So there are no so deep down anymore. Even if there is, it's not that deep, doesn't last that long, and you're just shoot out of it.
Yeah.
Anything, literally anything. So instead of these big ups and downs in your life, what happens is that you are a lot more up, and even if there is a little stumble, it's like just whoosh, and that's it. You walk along. So that's what bars, if you get it regularly, does to you.
It does. And I would actually like to add, and this is also where the title came to this series of like, or am I crazy or crazy aware? Is like for me, I learned the access bars in 2015 when I was living in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and I um, landed in Australia because of this deep need for have to have inner peace with myself.
Mm.
I really did not like me, and there was a lot of self-loathing that I was like trying to hide it even from myself, and try to have like some peace away from that constant psychological war, mental war going on in my head. I discovered later on that I was like suffering from OCD, and now I'm getting to use it as like an ability instead of like
Yeah.
suffering from it.
Yeah.
I learned along the way that I have like autistic tendencies, bipolar, and for me being like so extreme at times in these ups and lows, and
Mm.
really trying to hide it, because like what you said with the how do you call it, the control, like
Yes.
I think that has saved me from like never being truly addicted to drugs in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think the control like really helped me to like not to like sort of to um stay at bay, to be like a high functioning with all of this
Yeah.
stuff going on. And then what the bars did in all of these years is it created such a level of space,
Yeah.
presence, and kindness that I could learn to be with um, the world, that I could like, because I don't know about you, I had like some traumatic stuff happening in my life, a fair few,
Everybody does.
and it really helped me to really be with it, because one of the things that I did dynamically extreme is like suppress, suppress, suppress.
Mm.
It's a very Belgian thing to like, you know, be passive aggressive, be like mad, but don't show you're mad, and
Oh,
like push it
yes.
away. And you can tell, but we yeah, and my God, like the
The
Flemish
energy
part of
doesn't
Belgium,
lie. I mean, you can
it
suppress
doesn't.
it, but the energy is like,
It doesn't. And it has to come
yeah.
out. So what's doing this body, this specific mental body, it's a body process, but it's also like works on the mental, and it works on the physical. Is you get to you get to be with it so much more, and you see that so much in nature. There's like this thing where like for example the buffalo, you have like this storm, and the buffalo goes into the storm, and then the
Mm.
storm can pass. And I had learned my coping mechanisms was shut off and
Yeah.
run away as fast as you can from the storm,
Where's the
but the
storm? I
storm
run
never
away.
goes away. And then with the bars, with so much kindness, to be with the storm, so the storm can finally lay
Settle.
down and
Yeah.
settle and become part of your growth. And I've noticed
Mm.
that the more I come to peace with everything, I grow dynamically. There's like this constant space of
Yeah.
growing, um, where you don't, where there's like way less proving of who you are, of how
Yeah.
you define yourself to be in the world, that you must be of some importance. Um, that becomes less and less relevant with that, and that is such a gift. It's
Yeah.
such a gift. It's a gift that like keeps on giving uh,
Mm.
you, and
Yeah. I
more of,
just,
yeah, and more
it's
of,
a big
yeah.
difference for me as well. Whereas previously you would like just, you would think of yourself as like, oh, I'm the odd one out, you know, I'm the one that's different. I'm the one that's wrong. I'm the one that's too much. I'm the one that's never happy with anything. I'm the one that doesn't fit in. You know, I had that everywhere. Like I don't fit into anywhere. And you tend to make yourself wrong for
Still
it.
don't.
And still don't, yeah, not even into access I don't fit in.
But you're becoming okay with it more and more. You're
Yeah,
like,
I'm totally okay with it now. But like previously, either you would make yourself wrong for it, or because you're aware of other people's thoughts and judgments of you, you function from that. So it was always like, why am I not doing right? Why am I not getting right? Why am I not happy with what everybody else is happy with, you know, and all that.
yeah.
And
Supposedly,
now
yeah.
now that is gone, totally gone for me. And I I am so much more like I'm owning myself and I'm not making myself wrong for things that I did before. And even if there are, just getting back to the title of your little series of talks, which I loved, Are You Crazy or Crazy Aware? Is because that is a very predominant thing in my life now, like to catch my awareness and trust it. Because you're not brought up this way. Nobody talks to you about it. It's like, you know, we have these concepts of the gut feeling or the seventh sense or whatever, but we don't really acknowledge it and we don't really use it. And you don't really
No.
trust it.
And you
You
don't,
don't
nobody
trust it,
really
even
knows
if
what
you
it's
have it.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't trust it. So it's a development. It's a process to get to a point where you actually trust your gut feeling and they're following it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is now opening up total different doors for me. And I shock myself when I'm aware of things like 3 months ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
don't always get like like a hands-on proof of these things, but sometimes you do. And when you do, it's like, oh my God, I knew that way back then because I didn't book it in my calendar. You know, I took out my calendar
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
canceling something that I had to like match, I don't know, 5, 6 people for book a restaurant for organize the whole event for, and I was the one that never booked it down to my calendar. And then the 3 days before, the whole thing got canceled because people were sick or not available or whatever. And I take out my calendar to cancel it, and there was nothing written in it to cancel. But for the same period of time, I had 2 or 3 other engagements booked in. That if everything is happening, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. And I was like, shit. I was so aware 2, 3 months ago that I never even booked it into my calendar. And I had absolutely no problem booking other stuff for the same day and evening, other engagements, that, wow. And I thought, what if it's happening? Then I'm in the shits. But it didn't. And I had to
No.
acknowledge I was
Yeah.
very aware for doing it. And I wasn't wrong. I wasn't like forgetful. I wasn't wrong for not booking it in.
And
I was aware.
yeah, and it wasn't a thinking process.
And it wasn't a thinking process.
It was,
Exactly.
you did it. I love that. I love that.
Exactly. And
And
there
it's,
are so many things like this. And I
yeah.
love going with this. And just a little hint for everybody that's watching this, everywhere where you tend to make yourself wrong for little things in your life. For example, oh, I took the wrong turn, or oh, I never booked it in my calendar, or
I
oh,
gave the wrong order in the
I
restaurant.
gave the wrong order, or how silly I am. I can't even get simple things like this right. These judgments constantly run in our heads, constantly. So please catch yourself when you actually judge yourself and ask the question, if I wasn't wrong doing that, what was I aware of?
I love that. Because like I used to waiter a lot and then I used to make so many like mistakes. And then years later, I learned like, well, what was your body aware of? That your body knew that they did not want to have like the fish and chips, but they wanted to have like that. And then, try to fucking explain that to your boss
Yeah.
or to those
No.
people. They're like, no, but I ordered this and you should do your job better and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really do get like to come back to that body process of the access bars where you come to this place and space and vibe where you get to be so much more relaxed with everything and everyone instead of like that constant monkey mind and
Yeah.
judgments and this and that and Disney. Blah, 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 blah. What goes on in your head from a day from morning till evening like I remember like also like at points also you talking about like being aware ahead of time. I had like these from time to time where I glitch out of time and I go back to the past and I have like these
Wow.
memories. Like for example, I'm goofing around with a friend and then suddenly I get like this download where we were like together 50 years ago in and then we were like doing bad stuff together. It was very interesting
The
memories.
fun stuff.
We were, and it was like, wow, it's so cool to be with that. And it was also cool to like say that to my friend, like, I think we were like in the Holocaust together, we're like, but not on the good side. And she could totally laugh with it. It's like, yeah, and it's to have like also peace with those parts of the past because I've noticed during the years becoming like more present and aware and really develop my being like how much stuff energetic stuff that we take from our past lives and then we like still put it like I remember
Yeah.
and that has changed in the last couple of years more and more. But I remember for a lot of my life, I always felt like I needed to be punished. And I was like always punishing
Oh,
myself for something. And like, but I couldn't get to the why. Like it wasn't cognitive. Like, why the fuck? There
yeah.
was like no clear reason of why I was like punishing myself with the kinds of unkind relationships that I was having, or why I was making myself a doormat, or and then like bit by bit it came out that I was actually literally punishing myself because for all the bad stuff that I did in previous lifetimes, and I
Mm,
felt the need to like really pay my dues this
mm.
life. And I can really feel now that that is coming to a peace and
And
a
what if you
trust.
didn't need to punish yourself, but you could just change things energetically?
Yeah, like am I still gonna do bad stuff? No. No, this time I'm gonna do things very different from here on forward. And that really changes so much. Like it took out
Yeah.
a lot of the darkness that I
Yeah.
was battling with. Again, like, am I crazy or just like crazy aware?
Crazy
Like,
aware.
yeah,
I
of like
love
the past.
playing with the awareness. The other thing that I try to like master, I should say, is that to catch myself when I actually just happen to say something, or to catch myself when I happen to think something out of the blue for no reason,
Hmm.
about certain things. And a lot of the times, there was proof afterwards that, oh, if I listened to what I was thinking, I don't know, a week ago, and I followed my instinct, then now it would be so much easier, blah, blah, blah. And it's just so interesting that when you have these thoughts and ideas popping up, like, you said, I don't know why I asked you for this talk, but I just did. Like, please follow that. Anybody that's watching this, like, please follow that because it will bring you to places that like can't define, you would not dream of, you cannot figure out, and it'd be gorgeous. So you get great things if you follow your instincts or follow your knowing or follow the energy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pay attention to that when I'm doing that, like
Yeah.
who do I talk to? Even just if it's just like an ordinary chat. What are we talking about? Why are we talking? Why is not a good question, but like if something pops up, then there's a reason for it to pop up. And the reason is you're aware of something and it's
That is
giving you
so true.
information. It's
Mm-hmm.
giving you information. And if you catch those things, then life becomes so much fun, so much easier.
It
So
is.
that's what I'm playing with recently. Catch those little things
Yeah.
that I happen to say or I happen to talk or think even. I actually had a Zoom once, similar to this, but I had like people signing up as participants, and we talked about access consciousness and the access bars. And I used to do this on a regular basis, let's say once a month for quite a while. And I had this agenda of first I talk about this, then about that, then about that. Like it had a build up and like everything I wanted to say,
It's a talk
a
list.
list, yeah, a proper thing. And of course, I would like go by questions or whatever. So that could change. But there was one particular Zoom that I did that felt like a chaos to me. Like it felt like, oh my God, I'm totally disorganized. Oh my God, like I'm jumping here or there. And oh my God, I'm mixing things up and I'm pulling things in here that I don't say here. I usually say it there and that kind of stuff, And I was convinced during this call that this is the shittest thing I ever did. It's a chaos. That's what I thought. Until at the end, I actually asked the participants, okay, now we have 5 more minutes. Please ask your questions because if you don't have any more questions, then that's it. We're finished. So one girl actually comes in and says, she just wants to say thank you for all the information that was said. And it's really great and helpful and blah, blah, blah. And she just wants to say that she has no question because every time a question popped in her head, I started to talk about it. And then I went like, oh my God, thank you for telling me that. Because if you don't say that, I'm going home tonight thinking this was the crappiest call I ever did. And instead, I went home thinking, wow, how aware I am. She was probably, of all the participants, the most interested in it. She had questions. And before she could ask, I started talking about that. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Pat on the
I love
shoulder,
that. I love
acknowledgement,
that.
and it
Yeah.
just
Not
changes
crazy.
so much. You're not
Yeah.
crazy. You're not wrong. You're not screwing it up. You're aware. What are you aware of? So it's just
Yeah.
another great example of how aware you are. And
Wow.
please,
Yeah.
everybody, play with that. Play with that because it's so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. There's maybe I feel like I want to add and then maybe like finish the interview. Um so a couple of days ago, I was on like a mini online class about all of these beautiful topics around awareness and um, yeah, like how extreme aware we can be. And it's definitely like around this topic, like crazy or like crazy aware. And one of the things that really stayed with me, amongst many other things, but this is like, this is like now popping in my world, is where also like for example when you're in a relationship or in family or whatever, and there is like this one crazy person that is doing like all these crazy stuff, and some people are like so crazy aware that they how often are they actually expressing unresolved generational
Oh,
trauma
yes. Oh,
that
yes.
is ready that is ready to be handled and changed. that is ready to be let go of. And that makes such a big difference, because I've definitely been like that in the family, and I do recognize that more in other people as well, or I still am that in certain types of relationships where I'm like the canary in the coal mine, and it comes across as if I have like a problem, or like I'm being annoying, or there's there's something wrong with me. And there's basically like I have like this OCD awareness, something is up and it's not being addressed, and it's time. So you become, yeah,
it's now it's the
and it's
time.
basically, and it's definitely like I've definitely had that where people experience me as like intense, and I can't be intense, because sometimes these whispers are like so loud, and I have to like be honest, like this has only been like in the last year where I really where I'm starting to become more and more okay with this, because I still had like so much judgment around that. When you like for me, when somebody tells me like I'm a problem in their world that they don't want to have, that was like mortifying for me, like and then with crazy, or you crazy or crazy aware, like you turn things around. Is it a problem, or is it really like a possibility,
or is it a gift? Even yeah.
So wow, I really love this.
And to be honest,
so
how much shit there is in our lives that if we had the knowledge, about how things really work, we would be able to look at them in a totally different way. Like instead of judging it wrong and problem, it's a possibility, it's a gift. Like in your case, what you were just saying, like addressing the generational traumas and issues in a family. I mean, what a gift that is, that those things can get like resolved and released now. And if you acknowledge your role in that, then you're not wrong. You're actually a gift.
Yeah, and you can, and that's where your being really grows, where you really get to show up and thriving and alive. Like, yeah, more of that. More of that. Wow, Miss
That's a nice
Georgie.
way to end it, I think.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Thank you
everybody
for
watching
being
it.
on. I'm definitely going to, so this is going to be part of YouTube, definitely, and we'll see where else it can go. But you will find wherever you will be seeing this, I will add links. So there will be a link to Miss Georgie and all the stuff that she offers and what she's into, and what we talked about, the modality of access consciousness and the access bars. I'm going to put my website as well. And I also have a very particular page that is basically called Introduction to Access Consciousness. It's an introduction to accessing consciousness with the tools of access consciousness. So it's a little bit of like a place and a vibe and a resource base for all this, and this will definitely be on there as well.
And actually, wherever people are, there's always a practitioner everywhere in the world. So just look for them, no matter where you are.
You will definitely, when you go to the website of accessconsciousness.com, it's a really easy website to navigate in, and you can find like everything from, you can look from country, you can look from names, you can look from the kind of types of classes that you're interested in,
or the part of life you're interested in, like animals, parenting, children, finances, anything. Yeah.
Yay.
Thank
Well,
you so much, Evie. Hope to see you soon somewhere.
yes, yes,
Live or online.
yes, totally, totally. Mwah.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.